Class 9 English, The Lost Child, Part 3. Good morning, children. Today we are back with our lesson, The Lost Child. We are doing the last part of it today. In the previous classes, we have seen that a child had come from the village with his parents, and he was so fascinated by everything around. He wanted so many things. He wanted a garland, he wanted a balloon, he wanted to see the snake charmer, he wanted to ride on the roundabout. But he did not get any. He simply followed his parents. He knew his parents were not going to buy for him, but he expressed his desire. For some, he did not even say he wanted, because he knew that the parents are not buying for him. And now, in today's lesson, let us see how he realized that he was lost and how a man was trying to help him. In the previous class, he suddenly realized he was left all by himself. The parents were not there, and he was crying. Now today, we'll see how a stranger picks him up and tries to console him. How did you get here, child? Whose baby are you? The man asked as he steered clear the mass. As he steered clear, that means he was sailing on, means he was making his way through the crowd. How did you get here, child? Whose baby are you? The man asked as he steered clear of the mass. The child wept more bitterly than ever and only cried, I want my mother, I want my father. So he did not respond. Remember, he's a very small child. He was running in between the legs of the father and of other men when he was trying to find the parents. So he did not respond to what the man said. He only said, I want my mother, I want my father. The man tried to soothe him by taking him to the roundabout. Will you have a ride on the horse? He gently asked as he approached the ring. The child's throat tore into a thousand shrill sobs, and he only shouted, I want my mother, I want my father. Remember, children, he wanted to go to the roundabout so much. There were times when he suppressed his desire. He did not. Either he said it very softly, or he did not even say he wanted one. But when he saw the roundabout, he expressed his desire, knowing fully well that he would not be allowed. Okay, so when he was offered a ride on the horse in the roundabout, the child no longer shows any interest in it. The only thing that he could say was, I want my mother, I want my father. And his voice was shrill. He was sobbing. He was shouting, I want my mother, I want my father. The roundabout did not interest him any more. This is the man trying to console him. Now, the man headed towards the place where the snake charmer still played on the flute to the swaying cobra. Listen to that nice music, child, he pleaded. But the child shut his ears with his fingers and shouted his double-pitched strain, I want my mother, I want my father. The man took him near the balloons, thinking the bright colors of the balloons would distract the child's attention and quieten him. Would you like a rainbow-colored balloon? He persuasively asked. The child turned his eyes from the flying balloons and just sobbed, I want my mother, I want my father. So, do you remember when the child lagged a little behind looking at the snake charmer? He knew then that the father would say that it is a very cheap kind of a music. Now he doesn't want to hear the music anymore. He could only shout his double-pitch strain, "I want my mother, I want my father," when the man offered to make him listen to the music of the snake charmer, with the cobra swaying to the music. Then the man took him to the balloons again and offered a rainbow-colored balloon. Bright balloons were there. But did he like it anymore? No. The child turned his face, his eyes away from the balloon and only said, "I want my mother, I want my father." The man, still trying to make the child happy, bore him to the gate where the flower seller said, "Look, can you smell those nice flowers, child? Would you like a garland to put round your neck?" Now, do you remember that the child had wanted the garland? Yes, the child had wanted the garland. Now the garland is being offered to him by the man. The child turned his nose away from the basket and reiterated his sob, "I want my mother, I want my father." So once again, he repeated, crying, sobbing, "I want my mother, I want my father." He no longer wants to get the smell of the beautiful garland. Thinking to humor his disconsolate charge by a gift of sweets, the man took him to the counter of the sweet shop. "What sweets would you like, child?" he asked. The child turned his face from the sweet shop and only sobbed, "I want my mother, I want my father." So the man wanted to console him. He was very unhappy. The child was very unhappy. And so he wanted to humor the child by giving some sweets. The sweet seller was shouting, "Gulab jamun, barfi," etc. And the sweets were piled in with such an architectural design, and that had fascinated the child. But now he does not even want to listen to the offerings of the sweets made by the man. He turned his face away from the sweet shop and only sobbed, "I want my mother, I want my father." Now the child is desperate. He is very small, and maybe it is the first time he is being separated from the parents. And so he did not want anything in the world. Nothing in the world could please a child. The only thing that he valued most now was the parents. That is why he kept on sobbing, saying, "I want my mother, I want my father." So Mulkros Anand has, children, left the ending open to you. Anything could happen to the child. Who is this man who is trying to help the child? Do the parents finally turn up? What becomes of the child afterwards? Now, children, you can do one thing. You can give an ending to the story. Use your fertile imagination and give an ending to the story. Maximum you can write in 50 words. You can give your ending in a very interesting way. You can make it sad also. You can make it very exciting also. So please make your own ending. Give your own ending in about 50 words, and that is your homework. Thank you. Have a nice day.